Brand visibility, access to capital, and access to market. That is some of the main talking points that we will cover today. Every rising star in business need success with visibility, success with capital access, and success with market access. What if there was an art and science to accomplish all of the above? Today, I want us to examine the art and science in the context of brand visibility, capital access, and market access. In this context, we will look at the following. We will look at some definition of what success really is. We will look at definition of art and definition of science. We will also examine what is evidence-based marketing. I believe all of these talking points is vital to every rising star in business who wants to attain success. So I encourage you to call a friend, tell a friend that we're on air, and remember to like, subscribe, and share. So you will be the first to get these programs that we're bringing to you on a regular basis. To join me in today's conversation, I have, as usual, a team of dynamic personalities to help me with today's talking point. Of course, I would always say we don't only highlight the issues or the challenge, we also table the solutions. And to help me table solutions to some of the problems that businesses are faced with, I have no other than Paul Whitehouse. And Paul Whitehouse, if you've never met Paul Whitehouse, he is a BFC and he represents Patriot Business Finance. In the event that you're wondering what is a BFC is a business finance consultant, and he really understands his job. So you want to stay tuned to all that he's going to be saying in terms of helping you to access capital. Welcome, Paul. Along with this, welcome, Paul. Welcome.
Hi.
All right. Along with Paul, I also have Peter Go Scott, and Peter, he is the brain behind Legacy Chronicle. What he does, he helps business leaders, religious leaders, and the average person to leave a legacy for their posterity. Peter, I trust I use your words right?
Yes, you. Yes, you did. On target.
Yeah, he's the brain behind this organization. Of course, he's the guy that will always tell you in business and in life, you need your master plan. And of course, his organization is built out to ensure that you have your master plan. So, team, I want to welcome you to today's conversation. And to get the ball rolling, I want to do a deep dive into some of our talking points today. In starting the program, I established a number of things. As a rising star in business, you need visibility, you need capital, and you need market access. Now, in the absence of this, your business is likely to fail. Now, I went further to suggest and ask the question, what if there were a better approach in starting and scaling a business? And the what if has everything to do with understanding the art and science of attracting your ideal client, attracting capital, and being able to integrate the market. A lot of what I'm going to be saying today will be examining all of the above. Now, I begin today's conversation by asking the big question, what exactly is success? Now, we have recently released a book that examined this. But when we talk about the art and science of success in business, you first of all want to ask yourself, what exactly is success? Now, there are three classifications for success as we as proposed in the book. One is what we call average success. Average success are easier to accomplish. Then there's what we call the mid-level success, which is a little bit more difficult to accomplish. And then there's what we call large and major accomplishment. And I'm going to give an example of what is large and major accomplishment. As a rising star in business, perhaps you have accomplished one business startup and scale up. But above the business startup and scale up, you are now able to take your business perhaps to IPO. IPO meaning initial public offer. That's a major accomplishment, because any business that is able to rise to this occasion to be listed as an IPO, it means that you have public trust. You have broken through the know, like, and trust factor. And I'll come back to the know, like, and trust factor, because every rising star in business, before you rise, before you scale, before you optimize your level of success, you have to break through the know, like, and trust. So we have a clear idea now in terms of what is success. But what exactly is art? And we're going to examine that today, because I want you to ask yourself, what is the art and science of brand visibility? And I want you to ask yourself also, what is the art and science of accessing capital? And what is the art and science of market integration? So throughout this program, I really want you to ask yourself these questions and tell us how well we do at the end of this program to help you to answer them. So let's ask, what is art? Now, art are strategies. Art can be referred to as tools and processes and systems. And the art is something that we use every day in our lives. But are we able to use art to achieve a scientific outcome? I'm going to go deeper into this as I go into today's program, so you get a better, clearer understanding in terms of what is art. All right. Music is a form of art. I will go deep into this to ensure that you understand how this relates to brand visibility and capital access and market access. Comedy is also an art. It's an art form. But what all of this has to do with brand visibility, capital access, and market access. As I go deeper into today's program, I will help you to understand this. So you have an example of what is success. You have an example as to what is art. Let me give now an example in terms of what is science in the context of brand visibility. That's what we're going to be heading towards. Now, science, there's a number of things about science that makes science stand out. Science is not guesswork. Science is not speculation. Science is not a supposition. Science is when you have hard data, proven facts that if you do this, this is going to be the results. In other words, we have coined science to be one, science allows you to have what we call high reward, first of all. Science enables you to have predictable outcome, measurable results with the highest degree of accuracy, because it's science. And as I go deeper into today's program, I will really expand on these concepts so you now have a clear working mental picture in terms of what exactly I'm talking about. So everything that I've just said, I want you to ask yourself this. If we are saying that science gives you high reward, the reason you want visibility is because you want high reward. You want clients to know your brand, like your brand, trust your brand. And all of these are elements of reward that you want for your business. But can you design your strategies that allows you to attain all of the above with scientific outcome? And that's what we're talking about here today, because there's ways in which you can accomplish that. And we have a number of proven systems that we are using to help you to accomplish that. Going a step further, science is also not only high reward, but it's measurable results. You can actually measure the results that you're going to get when you apply yourself after success using the scientific methods that we are talking about. It also gives you not only high reward, measurable rewards, but it gives you predictable outcome. And let me give a very small example of predictable outcome. Now, let us suppose that you have you're in an accident and you're feeling pain. What are some of the first thing that people ask for? They ask for that pain tablet. Why? Because they can predict that in using that pain tablet is going to help to remove and alleviate the pain. The same principle I want you to ask yourself when it comes to attaining brand visibility, when it comes to accessing capital, when it comes to accessing market, are you able to organize your thoughts and organize your strategies to attain this at a scientific level? And we are doing all this because we know for a fact that millions, billions, and possibly trillions of dollars is invested in these platforms in advertising and marketing and brand visibility, but very often you don't achieve the objective. So we have done our research, and these platforms, again, they are designed to help you to make better business decisions. So I'm going to pause here for now, and I'm going to talk with Paul, and I want Paul to talk to us about one, access to capital, and two, Paul, can you also walk us through what I would want to call the art and the science of accessing capital? From your perspective, it may have a lot to do with looking at those pre-qualification, the credit score, the historical data, that kind of stuff. Can you just walk us through that? So someone coming to access capital, they know how to prepare themselves. So when they come, they get an approval and not a denial. Paul, to you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Gary. And I want to go back to one thing real quick. At the beginning of the program, you introduced Peter, as you often do. He is the brain behind Your Legacy Chronicles. No wonder. Look at the size of that noggin, man. Look at mine. And look at him. It's like, look at that. He
You got
is.
a big brain.
Yeah, man. I don't know, he walks around with that big brain on top of his shoulders. When he does it, he pulls it off. All right, like art and
Paul,
science.
Paul, you
Yeah.
sound as if Peter needs some neck support. You got
Hey,
a big brain.
he probably does. He just, that's going to happen within the next year. It's because his shoulders going to start getting sore. They're going to be like, the brain weighs 30 pounds. A head typically weighs 7 pounds. So,
Peter, we can take care of Paul. No bother with
Yes,
you.
sir. I'm warming up for him.
he's a smart guy. I'm telling you. I'm serious about it. And we can prove it. Just look.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, Paul, you win.
All right. Well, access to capital, I say it all the time, it's available. It's out there. Lenders do not want to say no because money is their inventory and they got to get it off the shelves. They make money on putting money out into the business world and they get paid for it through interest. So they don't want to say no. If they say no, it just sits there. They look for ways to say yes. They're creative in ways to say yes. So just I guess to really touch on capital, it's available. It's everywhere. They all want to say yes. Coming down to the art and science of it. Okay, in my opinion, and I don't science is I don't think science has ever settled because 20 years later it's going to be different access to capital because of science, the science of it. But science is the standard way, proven, black and white. Here's the programs, here's how you do it. That's the maybe the science part of it. Like when you look at a overview of what the lenders of their sheet, their rates and their term sheets, what they're looking for, that could be described as the science of it, the black and white. Here's one example of a program. 740 and above credit score. You got experience as a landlord. Well, that is 20% down for investment properties and commercial properties, 20% down, and interest rates closing in around 9%. That's the science of it. Here it is on paper. Let's plug you into it. If you plug into every aspect of that overview, then you're approved. That's the science. Let's talk about art. Art is the creative. If you got an artist, high level artist, or a high level anything, not even an artist. I mean, everybody can be considered an artist. This might sound off the wall, but I'm going to say it because I feel it. Motocross, dirt bikes.
Mhm.
That's an art.
That is an art.
They're hitting 80-foot triples at 40 foot in the air and throwing it sideways, and they throw it sideways so they can reduce the speed. You tap the front brake, your front wheel comes down, you land perfectly on the face of the jump going down. That's an art. That's science. That's not science. It's physics, but it's not science. That is completely an art. So you don't have to be a musician or paint to be an artist. Every field that you're in, you can be an artist in that field. So let's relate that to getting money for your business. What's the art behind that? Well, it's looking at somebody who was declined and figuring a way to do it. How can we bring things in? How can we introduce another borrower? That's being creative. Can we bring somebody else in?
Mhm.
Do you have equipment that you own free and clear? Because that's called cross collateralization, additional collateral to strengthen the deal. The lender wants the deal to be strengthened. If you go to a bank, or if you go to somebody who does the same thing I do, and I'm not saying I'm better or worse than anybody else, but I'm just going to use this example. If you go to somebody who does exactly what I do, and and they submit you to get you approved, and then you get declined, well, if they just give up and say, "Well, you're declined, sorry, come back next year," is that being an artist? Is that being creative? Is that looking for every single way to get it done? Is that un picking up every rock and looking underneath it to make sure that you can't find some way to make it get accomplished? It's not. How do you get super creative with that? You gotta know to ask the questions. You gotta know how to tweak it, tune it, to make it presentable. Stop it from looking ugly, make it look prettier so they say yes to it. Okay. How do you do that? Additional collateral you got, maybe another cosigner. And then when it really gets down to if none of those things apply, then don't just give up on the person. You really got to pour a little bit more into them because they want it. Like you're talking to somebody, we talk to clients, we want them to succeed, they want to succeed. But some people are maybe I've run into it. They've been beaten down by life. They've heard no too many times, and they don't believe that it's possible. Being an artist means you do believe that it's possible, and you know that you can create it somehow. So, with that style of person, what do? They don't have any additional collateral. It's a startup. Okay, startups are obviously the hardest. An existing business is much easier to finance than a startup. Let's look at a startup. Very hard to find. Not very hard, but the qualifications are high. Okay. If you're buying real estate and you just opened your business, well, you're looking at 35% money down. It's $1 million property, 350,000 bucks plus appraisal, plus title work, plus points. Okay. If you need equipment for that business, and I'm sure you do, then you're either going to pay cash or you're going to bank finance or you're going to lease it. Don't bank finance, don't pay cash, lease it. But leasing with a startup is still going to be 25, 30, 35% down. So if somebody says, and let's even take that on a much smaller, make those numbers smaller. But when somebody comes to us and we've went through everything we can do to get them approved, and they we don't want people to feel defeated. You know what I mean? We want to uplift them in every way we can. We can only do so much. We can't put the money up for them, but we can pour into them as artists and talk further and give them options that they have to become an artist and take those steps and make on their own behalf. What are those steps? Well, you know, You want to buy this pizza shop. The pizza shop's 250,000. You, client, want to buy an existing pizza shop for 250,000 bucks. It's it's 30% down. So that's $75,000. And they say, I don't have it. I have no way to get it. They've already answered my questions. No additional collateral. There's no real estate that they own that they can pull the money out of. Where do we go from there? Well, I pour into them and then try to give them the creative ideas to take those steps. And some of the options are you can find a partner. How am I ever going to find a partner? You're never going to find one with that attitude. You don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. Well, you do. How am I going to? You investigate. How can I do this? How? Look deeper. You can ask. You start by asking. How many people do you know? Does somebody you know want to get into business also, and you've spoken with them and you know that, but you're not even thinking about going back to them and seeing if they want to partner with you? Okay, that's one way. And what we do at Patriot Business Finance Consultants, we want to be involved in every deal because we make money. But if I can give somebody the information and I can step myself out of it, I'm okay with not making money because I want to get them to where they need to be because they got kids, they got family. I want them to gain wealth for their kids and their family. Even if I step out of it, it ain't going to hurt my feelings. So being real creative, we're talking about a pizza shop, huh? Okay, you don't have the down payment money. You don't have a friend in the world, so there's nobody to go to and ask to be a business partner. And you don't have any family that loves you or trusts you, so there's no way to get no money anywhere. Here's the next level of creativity: owner financing. Ask for it. If you ask, you can get. If you don't ask, you cannot get. So, one way to get that pizza shop without using lender money, without going out and getting money from family or friends for your down payment or taking on a business partner, is to ask the seller of the business, will you finance me? Some are going to say no, but some will say yes. And that 30% down, now they're going to want money down if they're going to finance your business for you, but get a little bit more creative. Hey man, I got $5,000 right now. I'm going to need 2,000 of that for some operating expenses a little bit. Okay. And you're cutting yourself short there, by the way. I mean, that is kind of really starting on a shoestring budget, but you can still pull it off. It is possible. So you got 5,000 in your pocket. Ask the seller of the property if you can give him $3,000 down. If he can train you, you walk into that business, start operating it as the owner, and then being creative because the seller's going to want something. They want something to say yes to you. You can be real creative and say, how about I pay so you're comfortable out of every 2 weeks, I'll give you another chunk of down payment money. Now you got to do the math, make sure the math is right. But there's so many creative ways that you can do something if you put your mind to it. Nobody should stop when they're told no, whether it's for financing or for something else. Look for super creative ways to do it. And on the subject of buying a business, if there's no down payment money available to get financed, to use lender financing to own a business, well, then go to the seller, make a deal. Making deals. Anything that if me and Peter agree to something, it's legal. It's a contract as long as it's legal or legal, moral, and ethical. If two people agree to a business arrangement and put it on paper, that is an agreement. And you never know what somebody will agree to. They might want to help you. They probably were in your position once. You know what I'm saying? People can relate to one another. They want to help each other, lift each other up. You go to the seller of that pizza shop and you look at him from a distance, you're like, he's rich. He made it. He never had no problems in life. No. You approach him and he's going to admire that you got some balls. Hope excuse my language, but he's going to admire that you got the courage and balls to step up and ask him to do that. He might say no, he might be that guy, but he also might be the guy who's been through a lot. He is successful now, but when he was younger, he wasn't. He had to get that done that way. He might have done it that way. So he would be willing to step up and back you. You're asking people to back you, and people will back you if you can come up with a creative plan that makes sense to where they get paid and you have success. There's more to say on it, but that I guess that'd be all for now. Just be creative. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
Paul, I must say I love how you expanded on creative financing, because very often, when someone want to achieve a dream, because they're not trained to think in terms of art and science of success, they get stuck in the problem zone. So when the traditional financial institutions say, "Hey, you haven't reached the pre-qualification criteria, so we can fine you, we can fund you," or you may have, hard money lending may say you need to still show us some track record, or bring some history, bring some in the game. You don't have it. Uh, the way you expanded on creative financing, it really opened up tremendous possibilities for those who are clever enough to listen, internalize the information, and want to take action on it. Because what you have literally said to people is that the 20% that financial institution may ask for if you're going to buy your first income producing asset, you can negotiate with the seller of that property, and they can help you to front that 20%. And
Yeah,
voila, you have access to the property. And whatever you negotiate with that person is between you personally and their lawyers. All right, you tie up that nice arrangement, and you now have full access to income producing asset. And that, to Paul, is no money down. If you
correct,
know how to negotiate, it is no money down. All right.
correct.
And it's quite possible when you understand how to play in this ecosystem of finance. So I really, really love how you expanded on that, and you
Can I,
give a blueprint. Go ahead, Paul.
thank you, Gary. I just want to add one thing. Something to keep in mind when you're doing that is if you are paying in cash, you're in the position to negotiate. If you're asking for terms, you have to be willing to pay more. So that's part of the flexibility and creativity. I mean, you could say, how about I give you some higher monthly payments? How about I pay you every 2 weeks so you're more comfortable knowing you're going to get the money? How about you're selling this pizza shop for 250? If you own or finance it for me, I'll pay 275. I'm not telling you to overpay. I'm not telling you to pay double, but keep in mind if you're asking for terms, you're going to have to pay more. And that's okay. Just like we talked about hard money lending. If you're only borrowing the money at 15% for 6 months or a year, who cares? It's not chipping into your profit margin that much. It's worth it. You can still make that chunk. Your chunk might be a little bit smaller, but so what? You made a chunk, right? So
Um, Paul, there's so many angles to look at this from. You open up answers here, right?
yeah,
That's before Peter come in. The way that you can also look at this too, Paul, is that when you're able to negotiate with the seller, so the seller fronts the deposit, the equity that you're supposed to be fronting to acquire that piece of income producing asset. When you negotiate with the seller, and the seller is able to find a way to allow you to acquire it by helping you to front it, guess what happens here? You literally create win-win situation, because one, you have removed all of your risk. Two, you might be paying more for the asset because you have to negotiate, and you can't negotiate at the same price and win. But guess what? Guess what? You negotiated at a higher price is not costing you anything, because once you know what you're doing and you're able to cash flow that asset, you're able to offset all expenses, no money down. You can cash out on that equity. You have money in the bank. You're on your way to creating wealth. So this is a beautiful conversation for us to have. Perhaps we need to make this a single topic as time progresses, so we could go deep into it and bring out all the hacks in there. So great share, Paul. Love it.
Thank
I'm going to come to Peter. Peter, your thoughts.
And I want to just ride on the conversation that you both gentlemen are having. I just want to say to our audience out there, we're so thankful for you joining us, participating in this program, whether you see it live or you see it later in time. But the conversation that we're having here right now is brand visibility, access to capital, and market. And I have a story that this is the way how I started it. And I'm going to say to you individuals out there, if I had this program 10 years ago, I would be so much further than where I am now. Because 10 years ago, actually, yes, 10 years ago, it was 2014 when I had to do this exact same thing that Paul and Gary is talking about, creative financing. So the question that we do ask individuals in our human growth master plan programs, and as individuals, we empower individuals that you need to build a legacy, no matter where you are, what you are. You have. It is important for the older generation to create that's something that you're going to pass on to the next generation. And 10 years ago, my wife and I decided that we wanted to be able to gather or to put together a package that we will be passing on to the next generation so that they would not start life from zero or start life with just the minimum that Gira spoke about, or the average earlier in his monologue. We decided that we wanted to do that. We did not know how we were going to do it. We just know that we made a decision that we were going to do it, and we started to do the research. It finally led to I saw an ad with one of the individuals, an individual that I have even used to become one of my long-term mentors, a gentleman by the name of Bill Walsh. I actually went to one of the business conferences that he was hosting in here in New York, and I, had the chance to meet with him in a seminar. And then later, I found out that he knew of an organization that taught entrepreneurship. And so I applied to that organization to do my formal entrepreneurial training. And Paul, this is what happens. We had to raise the course. It was a weekend course, but we had to. It cost, the cost of it was, I think, was about $10,000, somewhere there for the weekend, but to get lifetime membership. And I had to I had to raise that money, plus I had to raise the money for plane because it was in Las Vegas, about 2 miles out of Las Vegas, and I had to raise the money for the hotel that I'm gonna stay, all of that. But when I went and they applied, when I applied and they told me what it was, what was needed for me to do it, but I was all in. There's no way I am not going to do it because I'm looking at it. If I do not do this, then what next? And so they assigned to me a coach, a creative financing coach. And as we're now talking about the art of creativity, the art of brand visibility, the art of capital raise and access to market, yes, there is an art to it, just as Algira outlined it, that there is the art that goes behind having a comedy, behind Hollywood. There is an art. And I remember Dr. The coach that I had, he said to me, he said, Peter, I'm going to teach you a script. I'm going to teach you how millionaires make money. He said to me, I'm going to teach you a script. Do not change the structure of the script. Just make it your own. And he said, this is what I'm going to do, similar to what you're doing with Fernando and my son Joel now, all in teaching the BFC individuals how to become a business finance consultant. He said, Peter, I want you to practice this script, and then you and I are going to do role play, the art of business creativity and access to capital, the art of it. It's in your mouth. So the question that and the thing that we teach individuals is, what is your story? And I'm telling you my story right now. The question that we're saying to you in the art of how you are going to be creative is, what is your story? So he taught me a structure in which I package my story into that structure of how to raise capital, how to create financing. Then he said to me, Peter, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go into a quiet space, no distraction, no telephone. Tell everybody around you, no disturbance at this time. You're going to go into a quiet space. You're going to stay there for a while. If he said that if you can put on some classical music or whatever music make you relax, get into that space. I want you to get there, and I want you to just write down a list of names. As a name come into your mind, write it down. And I did that. I went, as the name came to me, I wrote those names down. I went back to him. I said, yes, I have the names. He says, okay, so this is what I want to do now. Let us role play. I am the person who's going to provide the capital for you. I'm the investor. You are seeking the investment. You practice the script. Now read the script to me. Say the script. You make it your own. Practice with me. I practiced with him. He says, look, you did this, did that, tweeted it. I got it right. It says, okay, now I want you now to call those names, that those persons that you have on the list. I want you to call them and schedule an appointment. He said, look, value the people's time. When you ask them, the first thing you should say to them, is this a good moment? He said to me, when you pick up the phone and you ask the person, you must imagine, if it is a woman, imagine that she has a baby on her hip. She has five, she has she's preparing a meal, and the meal is burning, and she has some other children running around in the house. That is the scenario that she's going through right now. When she pick up the phone, be respectful of her, because you do not know what is going on in her life. Ask the question, is this a good time? If she says not a good time, ask her, what is a better time for me to call you? Let her tell you the time. When she tells the time, hang up the phone and call her back at that time. So it so happens, when I ask the individual the question, is this a good time? A couple of the person says, yes, it's a good time. I have something that I want to share with you. I'm going into business and I have something that I want to share with you. Can I make appointment to come and sit with you? The individual says, yes, you can come to see me at this time. I dress in my business clothes. I went over to the first individual, Paul, Gary, I read the script. And the gentleman, after I read the script, he says, you know what? I cannot do the number that you ask, but I have this amount. Let me write. And the gentleman write the script, write the check. I got out of that room and I'm saying to myself, what just happened? Just by making a request, reading a script like a movie. I
Mm.
read a script and I walked out of that environment with capital in my hand. Well, more likely know that it has to be legal. So we had to have a written agreement that I'm going to pay you back 10% at X time for your investment. And he signed, I signed, we walked out of that environment and I was shocked. But my mentor said to me, when you are leaving from each appointment, ask them, do you know anybody else who would might be interested? The same first interview says, yes, I know somebody. And he referred to me to the other person, Um, Gary Paul. I went to did the same thing, and I went to the second person. And would you know, the very same thing happened. I walked out with another check of $500. I was blown away at the power of a script and creativity financing. So, what we're saying to individuals who are looking here, this is real. What we're saying to
Yeah.
you is not, we're not just, it is not just, we're not just talking. This is what we have done, and we can help you to do the same.
Wow,
Yeah.
congratulations, Peter. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. What I want to add, what you did there, you used the art and scientific proven steps for that person. And that's the importance of art and science. Once you study it to that extent, you refine it to that extent, you apply it, the results is going to be consistent.
Mhm.
And I just want to reflect that to what Paul would have said. When you hear Paul talk about access to capital and the creative funding, remember, we are not just here to give ideas. We are here because this is the life that we live. All right. We serve as BFC. Why? Because we want to help you to access capital. We serve in branding and marketing because we want you to understand what is branding and marketing and the importance of this to your business. So everything that we are saying, when you hear Peter share his story, it's a life that we live. So we understand the pitfalls and the valleys. We understand the ups and downs about it. And we are here to share that information with you to ensure that we can give you the kind of context to fast track the growth of what you're doing. Before coming back to Paul, I promised to look at what I call evidence based marketing. Today, we are given high level overviews, and there's a lot for us to go into, and I'm certain that we will not be able to exhaust the entire table of content in this short period of time. But let me help you to understand what is evidence based marketing. What we are saying here, just don't deploy your marketing strategy. You want to ensure that you deploy your marketing strategy that can help you it to represent art and science. So let's let me break this down for you a little bit. So you're in business and you want to attain success. You want brand visibility, you want cash flow optimization, you want access to capital. What are some of the first things that you can do when you are deploying evidence-based marketing? Step one, you can identify the most successful people in your area. For example, who are the top 10 successful persons in your field or the field that you want to be successful in? So you can start here. This is going to help you to start to collect information that can help you to make better business decisions. It starts by identifying successful people. And Peter just talked about, he was mentored by someone who was training him to become a millionaire. Why? Because they were looking at millionaire strategies and millionaire success. So if you want to be successful in business, why not do this? Identify top 10 persons who are successful in the field that you want to be successful in. And then what you do next, step two, you identify the methods that they are using to attain success. You see, success leaves clues. So when we talk about evidence-based marketing, is based on the fact that you are collecting all of the information, and when you're deploying your strategy, is based on the evidence that you have collected. Now, the only way to achieve all of this is to ensure that you are always market oriented. You're always market sensitive before you become market responsive. All right. Data is proof. And you need to analyze data from three standpoints. You collect the data, you analyze the data, you leverage the data, and then you mitigate the data. There's a lot to unpack in all of this. So I'm going to stop at giving you high level overviews. But I want to go a step further because I want you to now understand some more about brand visibility. And I also want you to look at this from art and science. Why is this is so important to attain brand visibility as a rising star in business? Why do you need visibility? Because visibility helps you to be known. Visibility helps you to be liked. Visibility helps you to be trust. So what are the know, like, and trust factor? I'm going to give you 4 concepts for you to document here and study it. All right. So when you're going to actually, when you are looking at what are those factors that influence the know, like, and trust in business, in brand visibility, these are some of the things that I want you to consider. Client identification. You see, if you want to influence the ideal client, you should at least know the ideal client. All right. You should at least identify who you want to influence, first of all. So we call it the client identification, who you want to influence, who you want to know you, like you, and trust you. Just don't throw the product in the market and say it's for anyone. You have an ideal client and you want to take the time to know who you're targeting. Step 2 is what we call client knowledge. How much do you really know about the client? What are their pain points? What are their needs? What are their wants? What are their expectations? You want to influence people, you want visibility, but you don't really understand all of this. That's a major challenge. You want to commit the time to really understand all of this. Step 3, when you take the time to know who you're targeting, when you take the time to understand what are their needs, wants, or expectation, their pain point, now you can do the educated thing. We call it brand innovation. So you either innovate a product or you innovate a service based on the knowledge that you have about the ideal client. Because when you skip all of this, you're setting yourself up for failure. But when you follow this particular pathway, as you build the brand out for visibility, you set yourself up for greater success. The last step is what we call the brand positioning. Brand positioning. All right. So there's a sequence that you need to understand. These are proven steps that you need to understand when you want to position yourself for success. Now, again, what we are sharing with you is something that things that we live. And let me relate this to some very recent experience. We have been building out a presence across social media. And in the last 2 months, we have been able to attract over 30,000 new subscribers to our platform. And we have been able to reach over 50 countries in the last 2 months. All right. And we have hundreds of thousands of persons who are viewing the content using the same systems that we're talking to you about. But I must say, I'm not doing this alone. I have a team. I have my 2 sons and my daughter who are heavily designing and supporting the implementation process of this program. But I'm saying to you, it's possible. When you have a system, a proven system, it allows you to deploy the art and deploy the science to attain success. I want to go one step further. There's a concept that we also call concept design and content presentation. And I want to come now into what we call the art and the science of visibility. Now, what exactly is content design as art? What is art? Again, I would have said to you, art is the strategies. Art is the tools. Art is the process. Art is the systems that you're going to be deploying as a means of communication. Let's take, for example, music is an art for millions, because millions of people identify with music. Millions of people across the world identify with music. It communicates a message. What it is does, it ignites joy and happiness. And when art is strong and intentional with results, it also reflects science. I'm going to explain all of that as we progress. But in other words, what I'm saying, let me just break this down a little bit. How often do we listen to music? Celine Dion, Michael Jackson when he was alive. Even now that I see young people listen to Michael Jackson, what happens? I see young people listening to Michael Jackson that just cannot contain themselves with joy and happiness and wanting to dance the way he danced. That is telling you something. The art is having a psychographic effect on the audience. Now, hear this one. What if you can use art to achieve predictable outcome? Predictable outcome, measurable outcome with the highest degree of accuracy. And that's what I'm talking about. So if we can use music to ignite joy and happiness and excitement, the question you have to ask yourself, when you're deploying yourself to build brand visibility, are you able to deploy art in this way? Because it is your ability to deploy art in this way that's going to help you to achieve targeted results. This is what's going to help you to reduce the cost of advertising and marketing and branding. It's what's going to help you to be more effective in achieving desired outcome. And that's what we bring to the table. We are not just discussing this because we have studied this for many years and we recognize that millions, billions of dollars are being spent wastefully, and there are more strategic approaches that you can use to achieve it. Now, let me give another example. Comedy. Comedy is an art form that millions of people identify with. Comedy. It communicates a message again. It ignites joy and happiness and excitement. And when art is strong and intentional with results, it also represents science. Remember, art is a vehicle, science is the outcome, the predictable outcome, high reward, measurable results, highest degree of success. So what if I say to you that, hey, today I want people to have joy and happiness and excitement. I just want them to be happy. And you ask yourself, what scientific approach can I use? What artistic approach what art can I use to give me the scientific outcome? We know comedy is one thing that can use, because when people go to, perhaps the RC in your hall, these top comedians, those guys have fun. They laugh their head off. Unless that's the objective that you want, because you want people to be relaxed. Because when they relax, you want to put a value proposition in front of them that they cannot resist. All right. So it's how do you deploy all of these things to achieve visibility, reach, impact, client conversion, cash flow optimization? What I'm saying to you is that brand visibility is not just to sit on your throne and wishfully say it's going to happen. It requires some intellectual thinking. It requires some heavy lifting. It requires some thought process and thinking through this entire ecosystem. And that's what makes it works for you. All right, let me just refresh some of what I would have said as I conclude on what I want to say here now. So I want to look now at content design as science. What is science? I want to re-emphasize this. Science is research designed to give high reward, measurable results, predictable outcome with the highest degree of accuracy. I show an example how music can help you to achieve this, because music is a form of art. Music is an art form that millions of people identify with. All right. So let me go further into this. As an example, let us suppose that you want to have high energy. High energy. What are things that you can do to get high energy? Now let's go back to the beginning here. Adequate rest translate into what? Increased melatonin and serotonin that translate into high energy. Simple thing. This has been proven. If you're able to get adequate sleep and rest, it translates into more energy, more mental alertness, more physical readiness, more physical fitness because the body gets to rest. The body's in that state of healing. So because of that, you get to do more. And there's scientific proof to this. This is a science. If you want more energy, you don't have to necessarily drink the energy drink because there's artificial stimulating serotonin. But if you rest, it's a natural way of stimulating energy. These are scientific approach. Now, the objective and reason I'm going into all of this because when you want brand visibility, you want to ask yourself, what is the art and science of this? When you want access to capital, you want to ask yourself, what is the art and science of this? When you want market access, you want to ask yourself, what is the art and science of this? When you put yourself into this frame of mind to think, it positions you to be more successful. One more example I'm going to give before I turn over to Paul. Let us look at another example. Zaradol. Zaradol has a painkiller, is designed to deliver, same thing, high reward, measurable results, predictable outcome with a highest degree of accuracy. That's the science. All right? That's the science. From the time you can identify a product to give a desired end results is because a lot of research has been placed into it to give you that degree of comfort. So when Paul sits here and Paul talks to you about access to capital, it's because he knows it as art and he knows it as science. When Peter sits here and talks to you about master planning, legacy plan, he knows it as art, he knows it as science. So that means that these guys are able to give you high reward, measurable results, predictable outcome with the highest degree of accuracy. So when you're managing your business and you need the kind of support to leapfrog, ask yourself who are the best persons to work with. The one who's going to be doing an experiment or the one who really understands what he's doing. Take the time, do the diagnostic, get the information, and helps you to make the smartest business decision possible. So I trust that these examples would have really helped you to better unlock how you can deploy arts and science to elevate your brand visibility, to access capital, and integrate your brand into the market. I know I didn't get to do the full deep analysis. Continue to like and follow this program, subscribe. So when we release other programs, you will be one of the first persons to get these content. So I'm going to pause here for now, and I'm going to come to Paul to have Paul chime in terms of some of the other financial instruments, and perhaps there are other areas you want to share in. Paul, all to you.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, Peter, that was so awesome. I love how you tied that in and how that worked. I think that science is how you do it, and then art is how you improve it, or you use art when it goes sideways. Art is creativity. So science, yeah, this is how you do it. These are the steps you got to take. These are the steps that are proven that equal that end result. But then you get that end result. Then the art comes in, the creativity comes in, and that's how you polish it, make it more beautiful, make it faster, make it jump higher, make it better. And art also comes in when it goes sideways. You're like, okay, the science tells me this. I can't I can't plug into that formula right now. Okay. Now you're strictly operating on art. You still got science, but you are operating on the art side. You're putting art into play. So I like this stuff. I think it's very, very interesting. It really is.
Yeah, Paul, what you said also remind me of something, right? I was looking at, I had a lecture to do, right? And I was looking at the tablets. Let us say it's an antibiotic, right? Everything that is inside of the antibiotic is art. Sorry, science.
Yeah.
It's science. But if you take the science out of that capsule and just put it in any old thing, you don't want it. You don't want it. So the two have to marry, right? The art and the science must marry for it to really work the way it's supposed to work. Right? Great point you made there. All to you, Paul.
That's a great example. Yeah. The creator of that medicine was an artist. He was a scientist, but he was
Yeah,
definitely an artist.
an
I
artist.
mean, that's a great example right there. Yeah, you take
Yeah,
it all out, throw it in different piles. You're done in one pile, no result. They need to be combined for it to actually
yeah,
make sense. That's that's a sharp one right there, Gary. Okay.
yeah, bro.
Financial things that we have available at Patriot Business Finance Consultants to help you and your business with. Equipment financing. You need equipment, right? How are you going to get it? The best choice, call us. Global Capital Inc. at gmail.com, Paul at patriotbfc.com. Email, set an appointment. That's how you get it for sure under the best circumstances. But you need equipment. What are your choices? Pay cash. That's fine if you have cash, right? But even if you have the cash, why do you want to part from that cash? You might need it for an opportunity or for an emergency. Keep the cash, and your balance sheet looks stronger. If you have cash on hand, if you just deplete all your company looks weak on paper. Keep it looking strong. Use other people's money. Equipment leasing is the best way to do it. We've got over 40 equipment lease companies that we represent. We don't use all of them. We zeroed in on who we work with. If you're in the construction industry, I already know who I'm going or who I'm going to take your deal and place it with. I already know that because that particular lender only does construction and transportation equipment, right? If you need lab equipment, if you need big, heavy equipment that you pull into your factory and bolt to the floor, I know which lender I'm going there with that, going to for those types of deals. So equipment financing, we got you covered. Get a hold of us right now. Don't wait. Real estate financing for commercial and investment properties got you covered. Okay. Difficult credit under both for equipment and real estate financing got you covered. We got lenders who want that business. Okay. They're artists. They chose a field. They got the scientific way that they do it, but they're artistic also because they craft deals together. That's called the story, a storied deal. If the deal is too storied, it's if it's got a big complicated story and there's all types of what ifs, that's one thing. Some deals just can't get done. That's the fact. But deals that are on the edge of being approved, you got to craft that story. And when I say craft it, I'm not saying make it up, but you take the facts of what you have, put the timeline in, put the story, and that's being creative. That's being creative. That's what we do on your behalf. That's what the lenders like when we do. We can turn a no into a yes by filling in the blanks and adding important details and coming up with the plan, the master plan, right? And if you need a master plan, yourlegacychronicles.com, you got to go there because everybody needs a master plan. So equipment financing, real estate financing, you might not have ever heard of these products, but if you're a manufacturer, you've heard of them. Factoring, or if you're a truck driver, right? Factoring, your accounts receivable are one of the greatest assets of your business. That's all the money that people owe you that they haven't paid you yet. It's your money. Why wait? Here's why you do wait, because you issue invoices. You have to. Everybody issues invoices. You're not going to collect cash when the semi truck drops off your product or your service is performed. That's retail. You go to a homeowner, you do a job, you're getting paid that day with a check or cash. If you're doing business to business, you're not. You're issuing invoices. So that's money that's yours. Sometimes they don't pay on time. And if your cash flow is slow because your business is growing, you're putting so much out, but only so much is coming in, we've got a program that's going to help you with that. We can take care of your cash flow situations. Purchase order financing, you get a large order that you can't fulfill. We all want to get an order from Walmart if you're selling physical products, right? You want your stuff in Walmart and replace Walmart with any. There's a lot of unknown businesses out there that we just don't know. There's a major chain in California that I don't know the name of, but somebody's selling product to them and somebody is placing product in their stores and selling it. How did they do that? Well, that business had to have the cash to create the product, manufacture it, put it on the truck, pay the truck driver to deliver it to that retailer. Then that retailer is going to sell it, and that retailer is going to pay the original business later, not immediately. And if you don't have the capital to get your product into that store, well, then what? Do you get to tell your grandkids or your kids, I could have made it big, but I couldn't because nope, you don't have to do that. You be creative. You find people like us, and we'll set you up with purchase order financing. And that'll enable that to happen. And then your grandkids can look at you. Your great, great, great grandkids can point at that picture on the wall, that 6 foot, 7 foot tall velvet painting of you. And they can say, that was my great, great, great granddad. He made it happen. He must have been a creative guy, you know? So things can get accomplished. And if you don't, let me be real. Let me qualify this. Some things can't get accomplished. That's a fact of life. But I'm going to say the majority of things that people don't think can be accomplished actually can be
Can
accomplished
be.
with by applying some art, making it happen and getting super creative. Back to you, Gary.
Yes, my friend. I love all your share. Love it, love it. All right. Peter, your thoughts on anything you want to share, anything you want to add based on what was said?
Yeah, I think I want to just continue to empower individuals to look at their story, because everything that is about branding, and we're talking about brand visibility, access to capital, access to the market. All of it really starts with a story. As I told you a while ago, I wanted to raise capital, creative capital, and it was a story that I actually crafted, a true story. It's a story about what I wanted to do in the future. And every business, startup, Paul mentioned a while ago that, for startups, for individuals to get, funding for a startup, it is a challenge because you do not have the access to capital. You do not have, the history behind you. But yes, as he mentioned, if you become creative, if you understand how you can put the story together about a future reality that you're looking for, that's how every major story, even large enterprises, this is how it's a story about a product that they want to get deeper into the marketplace, and they are able to tell that story so creatively, that investors will come. You know, Steve Jobs lift the iPod, the first iPod, and he spoke a very simple story: 1,000 songs in your pocket. That just a couple words, but that was so powerful a story that today everybody now can't get enough of Apple. So the question that we're asking individual is, you want brand visibility. What is the story that you are saying about your conscious conscious one of my favorite characters, Gary and Paul, one of my favorite characters when he was working, doing his with his friends, he was really empowering his friends. And he said to them, "Who do men say that I am?" What are men saying about me? And then they said, some say that you are the prophet, some say that you are John the Baptist come back to life, some say that you are Elias. And then Jesus says, yeah, okay, so who do you say that I am? So what is the story? What is the story that you are communicating about yourself? What is the story that is running in your own head? You got to craft that story, a story of success. And this is why the human growth master plan to us is so important, because we have to help individuals to understand that your life can never go further than how you feel about you. Your life will never go further higher than what you are saying about you, what you believe about you. And when you can design a story about who you are, and you put that story together, as Gary is teaching about being creative, that content design, you're going to design the content deliberately, intentionally design that content about yourself, and then you make a presentation of that content and you live that content. People will respect you for who you are. They'll respect you for what you are stand for, and you will find a group of people outside there who will navigate. They will be drawn to you, and they will pay you what you ask, because you resonate with them and you are solving a need in their lives. So we're asking you, what is your story, and how are you designing and presenting that story so that you will attract people and they will give you the capital that you need, and that you need to empower your life and those who are depending on you.
Hey, can I throw something in here real quick, Gary? That story I told about the velvet painting on the wall that your great great grandkids are going to look at. Well, right beside that painting on the book stand, you're going to want to have your legacy chronicles that your great great granddad wrote, so you can read in. I'm serious about this. So you can read in that book how he creatively did it.
Yes.
Looking at the painting and hearing the stories from your parents and grandparents on how your great granddad did it. That's one thing. But put it in a book form
Wow.
and they read it, and that creativity that the granddad had, if the kids don't have it, then they read it, they're going to be like, "Granddad did what? Wow." So, yeah, I'm not just trying to do a plug for you. It's important to put it in the book so they can read it. I am trying to do a plug for you, but beyond that, being able to read it and see how granddad did it,
Yes.
hear in his own words how he did it, and you're like, I didn't know people could do things like that. I thought it just had to be this way. No, he went this way.
Yeah. And I think that's why documenting family history, family tree, really helps you to, see the importance of legacy. I
And let,
think the main, yeah, yeah, Peter.
let me say thanks to Paul, because Paul is really telling you where to go. If you go to mylegacyproject.net, you can go to mylegacyproject.net and you get some more information about the master, how to master your life, and the four dimensions of how to master your life. You'll get some information there. Thank you so much, Paul, for really helping me to tell the story.
Drum roll. Yeah. So, yeah, Peter is the guy that really helps you to focus on the legacy. And I think that, we all have a story to tell. And I think the beauty thing about working with us is that we are able to help you to turn your mess into a message,
Yeah, indeed.
turn your mess into a message. And your legacy could be lying right there. So again, great share, great probing, Paul, and great work, Peter. What I want to do as we begin to wrap up, I want to give away some goodies. All right. We have talked a lot today, and I want to point you in the direction where you, the general public, those who are viewing the program now from across the world, and those who will be looking at the program at at the rebroadcast, we have some giveaway. So I want you to go to our website, this website, bestsellerportal.org, and you will see what is shown on the screen right now, One Degree to Success. This is a beautiful program. All right, so take some time, look at this program. I'm not talking about this program today, but you go to the site, take some time and look at this program. The program I'm talking about today is the one that you're looking at right now, which is Business Success Blueprint. This is a beautiful program because a lot of what we talk about today, you will learn. In this program, you will learn about critical thinking and your strategic team. You will learn about critical thinking and your tactical team. You will learn about critical thinking and your operational team. But you will also learn about the influencers ecosystem, and you will also learn about elements of capital markets. Yes, on this program, you will be trained or at least exposed to information of how BFC works. Now, BFC means the Business Finance Consultant. BFC know exactly how to access capital. And think about this. You're a rising star in business. You're exposed to this information. What are the possibilities of you now accessing more capital to grow and scale your business? So this is a beautiful program. All right. Now, the Business Success Blueprint, there are 8 important concepts on this platform. And what you will get is one, you will learn the proactive leaders ecosystem. And as a rising star in business, guess what? You want to be proactive. Proactive leaders stand out in very unique ways. One, that think ahead. You want to be proactive when it comes to running a business, to see beyond problems. Some people only see the problem and you get stuck in the problem zone. This program helps you to elevate very quickly out of that and to take informed action. And informed action is different than just taking action. Informed action is so called because you're working with experts, you're working with professionals, you're working with experience, and they know exactly how to navigate the terrain in which they're mentoring and coaching and supporting and sponsoring you on. So I encourage you to go to this website now. This is a free program. All right, it's a free program. And all you need to do is to get registered. Now, this link, you see the mouse button is moving on, just click on it. And when you click on it now, guess what? It's going to take you straight to the page for you to register. You see free come up big here? This free is all for you. It's not free because Peter and Paul and me, we paying for this program for you, right? This is our gift to you. All right. So I want you to go and get registered for this program right now. All right. And you have so much to learn here. So with that being said, I want to come back to my colleague, Paul. Paul, I want to ask you, can you talk to us a little bit about the BFC and some of the benefits that the public can walk away with?
Yes, it's a good opportunity, and I definitely encourage you to take it. Here's who would be interested in it. I think everybody. Okay. Now, where are you at right now? If you're in business right now, you got a thriving business, you're going to be focusing on that. Understood. We get that. If you are a person who is working right now, one job, two jobs, three jobs, and you want more, you're working three jobs because you need more. You and you want more. All right. How do you get more? Well, obviously you got to cover your monthly expenses to live. Obviously, you don't have to quit your job to work with us on this program. Business finance consultant. What is that? You are a subject matter expert. You're a professional in a highly paid career. Highly paid, not hourly. This is not a word, not hourly, but chunkily. You get chunks. Yeah.
Chunk,
Chunkily.
chunks,
Chunkily.
chunky lead. I hear you, chunky lead.
Yeah.
Big chunk
Yep.
of
Yeah.
money, right?
That's what we want to that's what we collect. That's our
Got
goal every
you.
day is to collect chunks. How do you do that? You can do it in a lot of industries. People will pay an expert to walk them through the field. Like Gary just said 2 or 3 minutes ago. Okay. Uh, if you need to get somewhere and you don't know how to get there, get an expert. You're not going to go safari hunting and go track down lions yourself, right? You're going to get a safari guide. They know the terrain, they know the bushes, they know that lions hide in bushes, and they're camouflaged to look like the bush. So they can get you through there so much better. How does what I'm saying right now relate to us? As a business finance consultant, you provide financing for businesses, equipment financing, real estate financing, and you provide it least expensive money first. Okay. You're taking them to the best place that they can go with what they want to do. You want to get equipment financing? You can go to your bank. Your bank's not going to tell you that the bank down the road is less expensive. They're going to keep you there, right? We're going to take you to where the money is least expensive because we know where it's at. We can walk you right there. Let's go. So, as a business finance consultant, you'll be a subject matter expert. We're going to teach you how to market. We're going to teach you how to get customers. We're going to teach you uh, business financing, how to explain this product to customers as you talk with them. But you won't have to do it alone. After training, you're not going to be out there in the world on your own, picking up the phone from a call because you marketed and somebody calls you and you're like, you don't know the answer to these questions or you're stumbling a little bit. No, the training continues. When your marketing works and you get somebody with interest, then you set an appointment with me, you, and the client. This is real action, real life training. Because when we're on that call, you're going to hear me go through the process, diagnose figure out what they need, listen to them, listen 80%, talk 20%. Talk 15%, close 5%. Okay. But you'll hear me do it. And when you hear me do that 100 times or more, as long as it takes until you say, I actually got this, Paul. I'm really good at this now. I'll be with you throughout all of it. And every time me and you are on the phone call, on a phone or a Zoom meeting with the client that you brought to the table, you know what that really is? That's me and you trying to make a big chunk of money for our business, for ourselves, and for our families. What do we get out of it? Well, we get business, right? That's good for us. Why do I want to share this and bring people along? Because I get a benefit. Everybody gets a benefit. You get a benefit. I get a benefit. I have customers that I would not have otherwise had without you, right? So I'm getting the benefit. And what benefit are you getting? You're getting 25% of the cut. And the cut is is fair, reasonable, and it's a professional fee for a professional service. So what type of money am I really talking about? The lowest amount of money I've ever made on a deal is $750. The biggest amount of money I've ever made on a deal is $25,000. I'd like to stay towards the 25, right? But I'll go lower, right? Everywhere in between there's a dollar amount that can be made. $150,000 truck, $150,000 excavator, a construction company wants. If we charge 5 points on that, and 5 points is a standard, fair, and reasonable fee, that is $7,500. What's 25% of that? $1,875. That's what you would get for learning this subject, for marketing, for getting that customer, setting the appointment, me and you getting on the phone call with them, going through the process, providing them a professional service, giving them the best outcome, and then we get paid fairly for what we did. And let's talk bigger numbers. Okay. You might be thinking, and I like the way Gary says this is a high net worth uh practice, high net
Yeah.
worth thing that you
Investment. Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a high net worth exercise. So if right now $150,000 is big to you, and it's big to me too, it is. I mean, it's big money, but that's inexpensive. Look at equipment. What does equipment cost for businesses? What do you think an excavator costs? A brand new excavator. What do you think a new semi truck costs? There's equipment out there that's a million, that's 500,000, a million, 4 million, and above. Don't think that that's out of reach for you to talk to those types of people, because it's not. And what you'll discover is when you meet and talk with those types of people, they're just like you and me. They're like all of us. They're normal people. They're easy to talk to. They're not hard to talk with. Some of them are, one out of 99, but that's okay. We can kick that person to the side and let's get to the nice people, because everybody's nice. Seriously. And so let's talk bigger numbers. $1 million. What's 5% of $1 million? It's $50,000. What's 25% of $50,000? $12,500 to you for learning to market, for marketing successfully, for bringing that customer to the table so that me and you have the opportunity to talk with the customer. It's conversation. This is all this is. It's conversation and providing a service. So that's the type of money that you can make. That's the type of service that you'll provide, and you can do it. It's not out of if I can do it. I didn't graduate from college. Let's put this out on air. That's the truth. But I guess I graduated from life college because everything I've done along the way, starting businesses, some were successful, some weren't. A failure is nothing. Who cares? Who cares? The next one. Here's the statistics. The seventh business is where you make your money. I mean, some people that's the middle, that's the percentage. So some people got to do 10 or more. Some people get it done in one or two. But by the seventh business that you've created, that's where all of the mistakes, quote failures, they're not failures, they're learning lessons. All that takes you to where you're at. And if I can do this, I know that you can do it. So do it. Do it. Get a hold of us. We want, our target's 100. If we get more, great. If we get less, I don't care. We're going to be putting people in positions that we can all make money together. And then 5 years later, we can be talking and say, hey, look what we did. Look what's going on right now. So that's where we're at. That's what we want to do. Paul at patriotbfc.com. Email me. Boom. globalcapital.inc@gmail.com. Email Gary, set an appointment with us so we can talk about this and get it going.
Um, powerful share, powerful share again, Paul. As you expand again on high net worth mindset, I recognize that many persons struggle with this, thinking big, thinking like a high net worth individual. And because of my exposure to life, I recognize that many young people, many rising star, one of the reasons when it comes to thinking big figures and negotiating big figures, I mean in the $1 million, the multi-million dollars, the $1 billion range, it becomes difficult for them. Why? Because they may learn it in theory, but they never actually seen $1 million or $2 million. You know, they have never been exposed to that. What I'm saying is that perhaps in the people's socialization to the good education, the right education system, there should be some exposure to this, because I think the exposure in of itself creates an appetite to want to know more and want to achieve more. One of the things that I must share this that I've done with my kids, since they were pretty young, I would bring them chunks of money, chunks again, Paul, chunks, right? Big chunks. I would bring them chunks of money, and I would say, "This is $1 million. All right, this is $2 million," just to help them to get the frame of mind of it, because I know many persons never even feel that or want that or have an idea as to what it is, and If you can break someone out of that cycle, that small ones, very early, I think you're setting the stage for great thing to happen. Now, I'm saying all of this because you heard what Paul said. And Paul, he has been fully socialized into big ticket thinking. And what I like about Paul is that Paul, he's a humanitarian. He don't want this information for himself. He wants to share it with people. And that's why we all are here, because we want to share this body of knowledge with you, because we want you to win. All right. Not only in business, but as a BFC, we can train you eventually to get into to business, but we're gonna train you to make money for yourself. Lots of money.
Gary,
All
can I
right.
add something, please?
Yep. Yep, Paul, go right ahead.
That's so interesting that you brought that up, and I want to tell you how I got socialized to it. Um, Selling cars. Like I had a regular, I had a job before I sold cars, and I made hourly. Started selling cars, and the job I had before was a pretty serious job. I had to do it was a serious job, professional job, dealing with serious issues with people. But I never had the big ticket thinking. And when I started selling cars, it was difficult for me to bring back the numbers, sit down in front of somebody and say, okay, cost of the vehicle is $65,000. Here's the term of the loan, and here's your payment, $1,100 a month, right? $1,100. I let that affect me. It's their money. They can spend it how they want to. And also, by the way, they know it's $65,000. They know that it's a maxed out GMC Yukon with leather, a moonroof, and a DVD in the back, and every button you can push. And that's not $65,000 today. That was in 2004, okay? But back then and today, same salespeople got to approach people with $110,000. But guess what? Don't spend somebody's money for them. They know it. They chose it. They picked it out. They drove it. They said they liked it. They know it's not going to be $300 a month. The magic cart payment, everybody comes in and sits down and wants is $250 a month. I made a joke of it. This became funny to me. When they wanted $250 a month, I would bring the numbers back and I'd be like, okay, this is $250 every two weeks, right? Or once a week. This is $250 once a week. How's that? You got your $250. It's just once a week, not once a month like you wanted. Okay. But 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 now and then, somebody's coming in and buying a little Chevy Cruze. They know that it's 18 or $20,000. They know it. That plugs into the payment. But the guy buying a Corvette for $129,000, that number doesn't scare him. So don't let it scare you. And then that transitioned into what I do now, which we'll do a $40,000 equipment lease, no problem. We'll also do a $700,000 equipment lease, and the client, he knows what it cost, so he ain't going to be surprised at the monthly payment. Don't have no
Excellent.
fear. Yeah, have no fear of them saying that's too much. It sure is too much. I know. I wouldn't buy this thing if cars, not equipment. Yeah, that is too much, but you chose it. So don't be afraid of big
You
numbers.
know, yeah, Paul, as you talk, you always trigger other ideas, because when you understand financial intelligence, you can select the most expensive car. Guess what? You don't pay for it out of pocket, because you got income producer that's pay for it for you, So, man, there's so much equation to this, but I like how you just stimulated some great thoughts there today. Love it. PT, your closing thoughts? You mute.
Yes, certainly, Gary Paul. We want to ask our audience just three basic just well, not a question, but just want to remind them of something very important. Three basic concepts that every individual has a story to be told, and every individual has a character that they need to mold, and every individual they also have a solution that must be sold. So you have a story to be told, you have a character that you are going to elevate. You're going, because remember, whatever you're doing right now, you are portraying a character. People are seeing you a certain way, they remember you a certain way. So you do not just want to leave your character just undeveloped. You want to really develop and build that character in such a way by your training, by doing investing in yourself, investing in your education, your some specialized thing that you do. What is it that you love to do, and you do easily, spend some time. As a matter of fact, in these days now, you don't even have to go spend financially, and spend the time in increasing your skill sets, increasing your ability, work on your soft skills, work on your character, work on your how you respond and behave where people are concerned, your empathy, your patience, your long suffering. You work on your character, and because you want to develop, you want to become that person who is a hero to somebody, right? So you work on that hero personality. When you show up, somebody is happy to see you. When your phone number comes up on somebody's phone, they are rushing to answer it because they know that your voice and what you have to say represents something that they want to be a part of. Let me say it this way. Can you imagine you open your phone ringing and you see a name like Tony Robbins or Oprah on the phone? Nobody's just going to brush that off and say, why are they calling me now? In the same way, you want to build your character that whoever is at the receiving end, when your name show up, everybody's scrambling because they want to receive your call. So you have to mold your character to become that hero, to become that person who has a solution to be sold. You have something. Everybody has something to sell. Just that what a lot of people is selling, nobody wants it to buy. What a lot of people are selling, it is a problem that a lot of people are buying, and so nobody wants to identify with that. They
Uh,
identify with something, a solution that when they receive it, their lives change. Their lives, they become better, they feel better, they think better, they experience a reality that is so much different. When you can produce that solution to the marketplace, then yes, you will have access to capital, you will have access to markets, you will have brand visibility. And it so happens that if you go to mylegacyproject.net, we can tell you more at mylegacyproject.net. Thank you so much, Gary, for
all right. So the way to go, mylegacychronicle.net. I
my
encourage you.
legacy project, legacyproject.net.
.net.
Yeah.
All right. I do encourage you to go there and get the information and take action. I love the share that each one of you would have made. I want to thank the audience from across the world who are tuned into today's program. Again, I want to thank the over 30,000 subscribers who have subscribed to two of our platforms. And I want to thank you for taking the time and telling us how you're enjoying how much you're enjoying the content that we are producing for you. Um, just before I thank my team, I want to say in conclusion, uh, there are three important things that you really want to focus on in business: brand visibility, access to capital, market access. These are three important things. All right. You, at some point of the life of your business, you would need access to capital. And the time to start thinking about capital is not when you need it. Start thinking about it when you don't want it. So when that time comes for you to access it, you know exactly what to do. And Paul and myself, we'd be happy to help you on that journey. Now, when it comes to brand visibility, there's a couple of things that I want to say. You need visibility. All right, you need visibility, and as you position yourself to become visible, again, I want to re-emphasize some of what I said earlier, because how does influence help you to get through that no like and trust factor. All right. So let me walk you back through a couple of things. As you set yourself up to get brand visibility, I want you to ask yourself, first of all, who are you targeting? Identify the ideal client. First thing. Step two, take the time to learn their needs and wants and expectations and their pain points. And then you come to brand innovation, service innovation, and then you move to what we call the brand positioning, which is the brand visibility. Sometimes you come all the way to brand position and brand visibility, but then you don't know the ideal client, you don't know their pain point, but you have innovative product and service and you bringing that to the market. It really helps if you put the horse in front of the cart and not the cart in front of the horse. Now, to do all of this and to do it well, we often talk about the importance of collecting sensitive data, analyzing sensitive data, leveraging sensitive data, and mitigating sensitive data. That could be breaking down even further. So let me break it down for you a little bit because I know sometimes when I talk, it might be a little abstract, but let me break it down. You want to be asking yourself a couple of questions, and that is one, how to use demographic data in art to influence scientific results. So this is a specific question. When we talk about data collection and data analytics, this is one of the data points that you're looking at is demographic data. So let me repeat the question. How to use demographics in art to influence scientific results. I know it may sound complex, but demographic data, there are certain characteristics that you need to understand about the ideal client. And when you understand these specific characteristics about who you are targeting, it makes it more easier for you to achieve the scientific outcome. For example, when we look at demographic data, you are looking at one example might be education background. Another example might be income uh, statistics. And you find that people respond to products and services differently based on income. But because you have the data, you know how to deploy the information in such a way to achieve a predictable outcome. We're talking arts and science here. It can be done when you know what you're doing. So let me move on. The next question you want to ask yourself when we are talking data here is how to use psychographics in art to influence the scientific outcome. Now, what is psychographic? Psychographic represents those deep-seated emotional factors that helps you to better understand your ideal client. Let me take, for example, Paul may like coffee, but Peter likes milk. So if I'm talking to Peter, it doesn't make sense to me to sell Peter coffee because Peter just don't like coffee. He likes milk, but you don't know that. So you don't know how to influence or use art to achieve a scientific outcome with Peter because you're selling coffee to Peter, where you should be selling coffee to Paul. When you understand these psychographic trademarks of the ideal client, it helps you to achieve better results in your sales efforts, in your brand positioning efforts, in your brand visibility outcome. So get an expert. You would often hear Paul said, if you don't know it, perhaps you need to know everything, but get an expert on your side that can help you navigate the realities of doing business and help to accelerate your pathway to success. Because if you're using the guesswork and the guesstimates, it's going to undermine the business chance of being successful. So when Paul lend you the money and you're guessing how to, you know, reach the market with your products, you're not going to cash flow the way you want to cash flow. And if you don't cash flow the way you want to cash flow, guess what? You can't meet your debt obligation. So Paul going to say, okay, you lodge your assets we, we take your asset. Paul, I'm not saying you're going to do that, right? I'm just giving an example, right? Right? But the way we work with you is to ensure that you have all the information so you're able to win, across the entire ecosystem of doing business. So that's my last word. I want to thank Paul. I want to thank Peter. These are two dynamic personalities. They're always here to serve and provide information to people across the world. And I want to say hats off to you guys, my friend. I really love your spirit and how much you serve. So just before we wrap up, any last words? I know you're up to the Easter season. I don't know if you want to share out any, words of advice to the Christian community or what. Last words, my friends. Paul, you. Start with you. Let's start with you. You started with Peter.
All right. So yes, indeed. Like I said earlier, that my favorite personality is actually Jesus. And even time, when we look at in the Christian community. But may I also say this? Let me say this, that uh, Easter is not actually Christian. Easter is actually Roman, from the Roman Empire,
Right.
when accepted Christianity. That Jesus was not actually a person that wanted to destroy the Roman Empire, but he wanted to do what we were talking about, help people to character. And that is what I do love about Christ, is that his emphasis is to build character in individuals. In his message, the Beatitudes, he would say to much of the problems that is in our world today can be solved if we look at the teachings of Jesus, as if turning the other cheek. We have such violence in our world today. If nations will learn to turn the other cheek, or just allow, just let certain things go, then we can have a much more humane society. So what we're seeing at this time is, take some time out and read the Bible. Do read about what the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, what they had to say about Jesus. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised to see some of the things that you will learn, and how you can apply certain precepts, certain concepts to your own life, that will make so much of it in you building character, building that story that will add value to other people's lives.
Great share. Great share. Paul, all to you, my friend.
Okay. I agree with Peter, 1000%. How can you not? And love people, help people, and don't stop there. Tell them who Jesus is, because don't hold that back from them. If you love them and you want to help them, why would you hold back the most valuable piece of information?
Right.
And it's as simple as that. Uh, I don't think I can add anything more than that. There's nothing more to add. There is more to add, actually, but that covers it right there.
Yeah.
Turn people
My
away.
guys,
Yep, go,
go
go.
ahead, Paul. No, go ahead, Paul.
I just thinking of a scripture that I saw the other day. That's important. If you hope I get it right. A multitude of sins is covered when you turn when you turn another away from sin. So do that, because all the money, you can't take the money with you. Money's nothing. There's one real reward in life. And so that's it. I'm out. Thank you.
Awesome. Or thanks for that share. Working with you guys is so empowering because, loving and caring for people for me has always been, like second nature. It's natural. And sometimes I thought that was a problem, just loving and caring for people. But, because, I think in the world we need more of that, people that truly care about people. I've built my business brand, just on caring about people. But sometimes when you don't have so much of people around you rubbing off on you, and you can rub off on them, and everything is aligned, Yeah, sometimes you think that you're on the wrong path. You think that you need to be tough and rough and all of that. So I'm really happy and blessed to have you guys who are humanitarian, who really cares, truly cares about people. So with that, I want to say always a pleasure working with you guys. And whatever you guys do over the holiday, if you're going to raise a kite or just sit and remember on the birth and resurrection, the birth, the death, and the resurrection of Christ. Whatever you do, do enjoy.